You know what the agricultural corporations absolutely hate? The fact that I'm about to show you how to grow premium fruits in containers so small they fit on an apartment balcony. Last season, I harvested 62 lemons from a single pot that takes up less space than a coffee table. Now here's what gets interesting. Number 5 on this list produces ripe fruit in just 90 days from planting. And number 1 will save you $300 every single year once it's established. I'm also throwing in a technique at the very end that tripled my yields using something most people toss in the garbage without a second thought. 3 weeks ago, I walked past the organic section at my local market and saw a single pomegranate priced at $6. $6 for one fruit. I smiled because that same morning, I'd picked 18 from a dwarf tree growing in a 20-gallon container on my back patio. That moment right there is exactly why container fruit growing matters. Hey there, welcome back to Plantalia Gardening if you've been here before. If this is your first time finding this channel, you've just discovered a place where we talk about heritage plants, crop history, and practical growing methods that actually work for regular people. Do me a favor right now. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications too, because every single week I release videos that show you exactly how to grow food without wasting money or space. I've been growing fruits in containers for 11 years now. What I've learned is that some fruits absolutely thrive when their roots are contained. Before we start counting down, understand how I'm ranking these 8 fruits. First consideration is how quickly they produce. Second is total yield per square foot of space. Third is how much money they save you compared to buying the same fruit at market prices. Drop a comment right now telling me whether you're already growing anything in containers, or if this whole approach is completely new to you. I read every comment that comes through. Number 8 might surprise you because most people think of these as garden plants, not container candidates. We're talking about pomegranates, specifically the dwarf varieties like Nana and State Fair. These have been cultivated in clay vessels across Persia and the Mediterranean for over 3,000 years. Ancient Greek households kept pomegranates in pottery on their courtyards because the trees actually produce better with contained roots. What makes pomegranates exceptional for pots is their naturally compact root system. Unlike other fruit trees that spread aggressively, pomegranates have fibrous roots that stay tight. They're perfectly content in a 15 to 20-gallon container. The dwarf varieties max out at 4 to 6 feet tall, and they're self-pollinating. You need exactly one plant. These thrive in zones 7 through 11, but here's the container advantage. If you're in zone 6, bring the pot into an unheated garage during the worst cold snaps, and you'll still get fruit. A mature dwarf pomegranate produces 15 to 30 fruits per season. At grocery store prices of $4 to $6 each, you're looking at $60 to $180 worth of fruit annually. They're drought-tolerant once established, which means if you forget to water for a few days, they forgive you instead of dropping fruit. Number 7 is where people make their biggest mistake, and I'm going to help you avoid it. Regular strawberries, specifically ever-bearing varieties like Seascape and Albion. Now, strawberries have been cultivated for centuries, but the modern ever-bearing types were developed in California in the 1970s specifically for continuous production. Here's what most people get wrong. They plant June-bearing varieties expecting months of fruit and get disappointed when everything ripens in 2 weeks. Ever-bearing varieties produce from late spring through the first hard frost. You're picking berries almost daily for 5 to 6 months. Plant 6 strawberry crowns in a 14-inch container. They thrive in zones 4 through 9. Within 3 months of planting, you're harvesting ripe berries. One properly maintained container produces 3 to 5 pounds of fruit per season. Organic strawberries sell for $6 to $8 per pound. Your container produces fruit worth $18 to $40 annually, and the plants send out runners that you can root for free expansion. Ground cherries sell for around $12 per pint at farmers markets when available. The brilliant part is the fruits fall to the ground when ripe, still protected by their papery husks, and sit there for a week without rotting. You literally harvest by picking them up off the soil surface. Save seeds from your best fruits, dry them, and you'll never buy ground cherry seeds again. Quick pause here. If this video is giving you ideas and showing you possibilities you didn't know existed, hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps push this content to more people. Drop another comment telling me which fruit has surprised you most so far. Number 4 is going to seem unexpected because most people assume you need a vineyard. Hardy kiwis, specifically the smooth-skinned Actinidia arguta varieties like Ananasnaya and Isai. These fruits are about the size of a large grape, eaten whole with intensely sweet, almost tropical flavor. They survive -25-degree winters. Hardy kiwis were cultivated in Korea and northern China, centuries before European explorers encountered the fuzzy tropical kiwi fruit. The vines are vigorous, but the secret for container growing is choosing dwarf or self-fertile varieties and pruning aggressively. Most people fail because they let the vine run wild. Use a 20-gallon container minimum. They thrive in zones 4 through 9. The self-fertile variety Isai fruits without needing a male pollinator. One mature vine produces 20 to 40 pounds of fruit annually. These sell for $9 per pound at farmers markets, assuming you can find them. Your container vine produces fruit worth $180 to $360 each year. Train them onto a simple bamboo trellis in a teepee formation. Costs maybe $5 in materials. As the vine grows, wind it around the stakes and pinch back excess growth. This concentrated approach actually increases fruit set because the plant isn't wasting energy on sprawling growth. Coming in at number 3, and this is where the financial value becomes genuinely impressive. Dwarf blueberries. Specifically compact varieties like Top Hat, Peach Sorbet, and Perpetua. Blueberries have been harvested in North America for over 13,000 years. Native peoples managed wild blueberry patches, essentially practicing agriculture before European contact. Here's what makes blueberries exceptional for containers. They need acidic soil, somewhere between 4.5 and 5.5 picohenries. In the ground, achieving this can be nearly impossible, depending on your native soil. In containers, you have complete control. Mix your potting soil with peat moss, or use an azalea and rhododendron blend, and suddenly you're growing blueberries better than commercial farms. The compact varieties stay under 3 feet tall. They're gorgeous with fall color, and they produce heavily. A single mature blueberry bush in a container gives you 3 to 5 pounds of berries per season. Organic blueberries sell for $6 to $8 per pound. One plant produces fruit worth $18 to $40 annually, and the plant lives for decades. These thrive in zones 3 through 9, which covers almost the entire country. You can move them if they need more sun. If a late frost threatens, bring them closer to the house. If soil needs adjusting, you're working with a container, not trying to amend an entire garden bed. That flexibility is worth its weight in gold. Number 2 is going to feel almost too familiar, but stay with me, because the container approach transforms this fruit completely. Meyer lemons, specifically the improved dwarf Meyer variety. Citrus cultivation in containers goes back over 2,000 years in China, where wealthy households maintained orange and lemon trees in ornate pottery as status symbols. Meyer lemons are naturally semi-dwarf, but more importantly, they're ever-bearing. You can have flowers, young fruit, and ripe fruit, all on the same tree simultaneously. It's like having a grocery store in a pot. One established Meyer lemon tree produces 50 to 100 lemons per year. At $1.50 per lemon in stores, you're looking at $75 to $150 worth of fruit annually. These thrive in zones 9 through 11, but containers give you climate flexibility. If you're in zone 7 or 8, grow them outside during warm months and bring them near a sunny window in winter. You control everything. Too cold? Move it inside. Pests showing up? Isolate and treat one container. The smell when these trees bloom is worth having one by itself. Your whole patio smells like a citrus grove. And there's something deeply satisfying about making lemonade from lemons you grew yourself. Use balanced organic fertilizer every 2 weeks during growing season. Costs maybe $15 yearly, and your tree stays loaded. Number 1 is going to challenge what you think is possible in containers. But the results justify this ranking completely. Dwarf figs, specifically Petite Negra, Little Miss Figgy, and Chicago Hardy. Figs are among the oldest cultivated fruits in human history. Archaeological evidence shows figs being grown in clay vessels in ancient Mesopotamia, 5,000 years ago. Here's what makes figs revolutionary for container growing. They actually prefer being slightly root-bound. When you put a fig in a container, you're giving it exactly the conditions it evolved to love, and the result is more fruit earlier in the season. I've seen single container figs produce over 100 fruits in one season. That's not exaggeration. The beautiful thing about figs is they fruit on new growth, which means even if you're in a cold climate and the tree dies back in winter, it comes back and still gives you fruit the same year. You can't say that about most fruit trees. These thrive in zones 6 through 11, and with container protection, even zone 5 gardeners succeed. A mature dwarf fig in a 15 to 20 gallon container produces anywhere from 30 to 100 fruits annually depending on variety and care. Fresh figs at stores, if you can even find good ones, run $6 to $8 for a tiny container of maybe 6 fruits. Your potted fig tree produces fruit worth well over $200 per season. Here's the technique that makes you look like a genius. Stress your fig tree slightly by letting it dry out between waterings during fruiting season. This concentrates the sugars and makes the figs taste incredible. It's like nature's candy, but you made it happen. Now, the bonus technique that applies to all 8 of these fruits. Worm castings as top dressing. 3 years ago, I started adding a 1-inch layer of pure worm castings to the surface of all my container fruits every spring. Fruit production increased by an average of 38%. Leaf color improved. Drought tolerance increased. Disease pressure decreased. A cubic foot of worm castings costs about $18 and covers 8 to 10 containers. That's less than $2 per container for measurable improvement. Apply them in early spring, just as growth begins. Don't mix them in. Spread them evenly over the soil surface and water gently. The nutrients leach down slowly with each watering, feeding roots consistently over months. So there's your complete list. 8 fruits that thrive in containers, save you substantial money, and prove you don't need land to grow premium food. Whether you've got a tiny balcony or a big patio, every single one of these is genuinely practical. If this video has given you ideas, subscribe right now if you haven't already. Click that button and turn on notifications, because I release detailed growing videos every single week focusing on heritage plants, crop history, and practical techniques that actually work in the real world. Drop a comment below telling me which fruit you're planning to start with first. Are you going for the quick returns of ground cherries? The continuous harvest of figs? The sheer productivity of blueberries? I read every comment and I'm genuinely curious what appeals to different people. Thanks for spending this time with me today. Now get yourself a container, pick a fruit from this list, and start growing something that'll feed you for years. I'll see you in the next one.